Hey guys, and welcome to a pretty special episode of my channel. Don't have a name for this series. Maybe it'll be off-brands or bootlegs, who knows. And if you hear noises in the background, it's because I'm outside. It's gorgeous out. Also, there's some really good lighting out here. You'll just have to mind the birds. But, oh, and the cars, of course, because I live in a neighborhood. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the set we're going to be reviewing today. If you guys have heard of the Enlighten Masker Frisbee X, they're a pretty well-known bootleg that's existed for quite a while now. I don't know exactly when this came out, but it has been around for quite a while, though finding them has proven pretty challenging. I was able to find a seller in Singapore. He sold me 2 sets. That's right, 2. So next week we will be doing another episode, and we'll talk about that here shortly. But let's take a look at the box here. It's pretty basic. The character's name is Tocha or Tasha. I'm going to pronounce it Tasha. I think it sounds a little bit nicer. And the brand is Enlighten. Frisbee X is the name of the series, I guess, or Masker, perhaps, in the same font or a similar font to old BIONICLE, just gold. Kind of interesting, and trying to hide things in the background here, but you're starting to get a peek. So, nothing too interesting on the sides of the box. You can see here that it has the suggestion of an island, but no lore, no names, and this is all very obviously like some paint program, just like a paintbrush with different swatches, so like water, rock, ice, grass. There's no actual like detail in it, so still very interesting to see some of the parts and sets involved here. Kind of looks like that blue might be somewhere between like a regular blue and a dark blue. Would be really interesting to see that, but I haven't found any of those yet. And the other side of the box shows that the items glow in the dark, which they do. I can confirm that, and made in China, and Frisbee X. That's pretty much it. So let's get this out of the way and stop spoiling things, and let me set up my camera here just a second, because it decided it's going to go a little bit lower. There we go. Okay, so here you can see a comparison between the Lego Akmu set on the left, and on the right is Tosha. Just before I get to them, let's get this out of the way, the instruction booklet. So, it's not a booklet, actually, it's just a folded up piece of paper, which, I mean, it's fitting. It's the same as Lego would have done, just in a different format. But yeah, actually not bad instructions. I think it's kind of neat to show the build as it progresses and just show the parts that you're adding in like full saturation. For like bigger, more complex builds, things would start to get confusing that way. But yeah, for small builds like this, it's just kind of nice. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, and very, very similar to the way Lego presents them. So let me put that in the box. As you'll notice here, the colors are quite different, and that is because Tasha, or Tocha, is the same color, or at least very close to Mata Brown, which is one of the reasons I was very interested in this set. As you can see, it has a Rao and in Mata Brown. Pretty cool. We never actually received that set, and I will show you up close here in just a moment, but let's get out of the way some of the flaws with the set. Now, I don't believe this is actually flaws necessarily with the set, and I don't think it's from the seller, but possibly the shipping. I saw the package before it was shipped. The supplier took pictures of it. So the seller took pictures of it, and I saw it when it got here, and it was a little bit smashed. So coming from a different country to here over the course of a couple of weeks, things tend to happen. So there are 3 pieces on here that are cracked. That said, they actually didn't come with this set. They came with the second set I will be reviewing shortly, actually in next week's video. I traded them off of this set because I don't plan on keeping this one built, whereas the other one I do plan on keeping built, because as you can see, this silver color here is actually a dark silver, and I did not think to grab any of Lego's modern dark silver pieces, but it is extremely close, and I would even say passable for Lego's more modern dark silver color, a color that was popular in Hero Factory and the BIONICLE Generation 2 etc. So yeah, it is by far an excellent color choice. It's just the cracked pieces, something we're very familiar with Lego parts as well, aren't quite as friendly, let's just say. So you can see here the weapon is the same as you would see from the Metro Matoran, just the disc launcher, and I haven't actually tested it, but let's go ahead and do that now. And yeah, it works about the same. It feels about the same too. Like it's not any stiffer. It's flexible. It feels fine. I don't feel worried bending any of this. And I think that's the most notable thing that you're gonna get from these reviews is that honestly, in terms of quality, this is very similar to Lego. Some of the parts you can't even really tell the difference between them and official Lego pieces just holding them, which is exceptional. Interestingly, the mask seems to be the one thing that's made of like a different plastic or a thinner plastic than any other respective part, if that makes sense. And I'm not exactly sure why that is. I'm guessing it has something to do with, I don't know, costs, or maybe they didn't want to get, like copyright infringement or something like that, which I'm sure they eventually did anyway. Obviously, these are stolen designs. But yeah, let me go ahead and pull the mask off here, as I'm sure you're curious. You'll also see that the eye color is different, but that is actually very similar to Lego's transparent light blue that came in the Eerie set, so it's not like a new piece. And interestingly, this piece right here fits just fine with normal Lego pieces, and this piece right here fits just fine with normal Lego pieces, but together it's very hard to get this piece back out of this piece. Just an interesting little thing to notice, and doesn't seem to be an issue here, but there's a little bit of movement in that, which I find interesting, because it is in there solidly. It's easy to separate if you use like a brick separator or something, but like you're not going to just be able to pull them apart, which is nice, but it's nice to have that little bit of movement because it makes it feel like it'd be easier to take off in the future. And I really like having this head in this color. Again, I didn't think to bring out a Mata head, so I guess I can compare it here. And this is not something that's going to show up on camera, but this one's details are actually crisper. Like, they're sharper. And it's interesting because I'm used to it being the other way around with bootlegs, where the edges are just, like, softened or not quite, they don't capture quite as much detail as, like, Lego's official. But these ones, it's the opposite case. It actually really captures Lego's official detail, even, I would say, as good as Lego or even slightly better. And I'm sure that has to do with, like, molding, like, the way that they molded it. There's probably some sort of excess left in the negative or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how they did it, but it seems like they probably cast one and then made the other kind of thing. Alright, so that said, let's get this out of the way because I think the most notable piece in the set is going to be the brown round. And you'll see that it's quite shiny on the top now, but it was not like that when it came. It was actually matte in texture, which is kind of interesting. It wasn't bad by any means, but the Rao, as you know, is a very smooth mask all the way through. Every little pleat here on the mask has a lot of, shine to it. It's very much like almost a mirror finish. And you'll see that I didn't do any polishing to the bottom here, but I did to the top. So you'll see that the top is quite shiny now. Not perfect, but the bottom is still very matte. I don't mind it. I think it actually looks kind of cool and adds a bit of interesting detail here. But yeah, just something to notice. And compared to traditional Mata mask, it might show up a little bit better outside, but it is a slightly different color. I'll compare it to another as well because Lego's Mata brown was actually two very slightly different colors. These are actually really close right here. So just comparing these two, you might be able to actually kind of see it. I'm not sure if it shows up well on video, but the Kakama is more of like a, not faded, less saturated brown almost. So I just find it interesting. And then this is Lego's newer reddish brown, which you'll see isn't quite the same. No, you won't see it. Now you'll see it. Isn't quite the same. This is definitely redder, but I have noticed a slight reddish tinge, I guess you'd say. It's barely there. And yeah, like I said, these two right next to each other, they really look like the same color. So I'm pretty impressed by that. The fact that they were able to match those colors. And on top of that, meaning that this body is in Mata Brown, which is really cool. Interestingly, the feet are a darker brown, and I'm not sure what kind of color that would be. It's not a perfect match for Lego's brown. You'll see it's quite a bit darker, but it's also much lighter than official dark brown. So that's basically it for this little guy here. Tasha, Tucha, whatever you want to call him. Number 222 from the Enlightened Masker. If I am able to find more of these guys, or if you guys know anybody who might have one or are able to source them and you'd like to see me review them, go ahead and let me know by either messaging me on my Discord or Instagram, which I'll leave linked in the description. I'm very easy to get a hold of there. Or, of course, you can just leave a comment in the comments below, if it's relatively recent from this video's release. But yeah, that's basically it for these guys. I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek as to what we'll be reviewing next time. So this is Enlightened Masker Beta. And oh goodness, I thought this was going to be very similar to Lego's, Borak Cow. But no, it's actually quite a bit different and almost better. I like it a lot. I'm just going to leave it at that and just say that wait till you see the Krana. It's pretty cool. But that's pretty much it for this one, guys. So until next time, take care.